Once upon a time, there lived a young man named Chijoke in the beautiful village of Umunze. Chijoke was the only son of his family and seen as the Opara, which means the first son. As a result, he had great expectations laid on him. His family wanted him to inherit his father's farms and take care of his younger sisters. His mother's wish was that he would marry and have many sons to continue his father's lineage. But Chijoke wanted no part of these. He hated farming and hunting and felt like throwing up if he was told to catch and kill a fish. Every day brought a new quarrel in his family as his parents' consistent efforts to help him was always thwarted. Chijoke was only interested in one thing, and that was singing. He could sing from night till day and wouldn't get tired. He was always singing, and even while hunting, on days he was forced, Chijoke would use singing to scare all the animals away from the hunters. This made the hunters to stop inviting him for their expeditions, calling him bad luck. It made him happy instead of angry. One of the rules of Imunze was that every young man must be gainfully occupied with skills that will grow the community and help them become prosperous. But Chijoke's constant refusal to be of use to the community except in singing was a hard bone to swallow. Despite being popular due to his beautiful ability to turn words into songs, his family still didn't see the usefulness of his singing. Every breaking day, his voice could be heard by every villager, causing them to feel both joy and exasperation as they performed their chores. It was a contradictory situation for everyone. They both loved and endured him at the same time. However, not everyone in Umunzi appreciated Chijoke's gift or looked upon him with pity. The village chief, a stern man named Okeke, believed that hard work and practicality were the cornerstones of a thriving community. To him, Chijoke's singing was a distraction and not worthy of the attention the villagers gave him. He criticized him for spending time on nonsense and ignoring his duties to his family and his community. The chief found the perfect way to stop Chijoke from singing the year they had a bad drought. That year, the Hamatan was brutal and crops dried up. The earth was hard and yielded very little harvest. The streams and forests were not left behind in the lack that swept through the land. As worry filled the hearts of everyone, neighbors began to point fingers and accuse each other of being the reason the gods had smote the land with famine. This was where the chief came in and accused Chijoke. He said his neglect of the people, the land, and his duties were the reasons the gods were angry. He even went so far as to ban Chijoke from singing publicly, demanding that he contribute to the physical labor needed to save their dying crops. He said the gods were angry with the people for allowing foolishness to thrive in the land. In spite of all the pain he felt at being ordered to give up what he loved the most, Chijoke had no choice but to obey. He worked ceaselessly in the farms, striving to put in his share to make the community thrive again. At night, he found solace in the quiet of the forest, where he would sing softly to himself and the stars. His songs that were once filled with joy and laughter and love were now filled with sorrow and pain and suffering. This became a routine he stuck to, working during the day and singing at night to the trees. One night, as he sang soulfully, a young girl met him. Her name was Adaora, and she was the daughter of a merchant who had been passing by but had decided to sell his goods at Umunzi. She had fallen in love with Chijoke's singing and had always followed him into the forest to hear him sing. Moved by his songs that night, Adora decided to show herself and convince him to sing for some villagers who missed his songs. News soon traveled fast and spread very far, and before long the crowd grew. The people drawn to the songs the way they never were in these trying times. Even those who were skeptical of his talent began to see the light in his words and melodies. One night, during one such secret gathering, Chief Okeke himself was drawn to the gathering of the haunting beauty of Chijoke's voice. As he listened, hidden in the shadows, his heart became softer as he realized that Chijoke's gift brought hope to the community and was a way for them to bond. He saw for the first time that Chijoke's gift was not what made the villagers lazy, but rather gave them the strength to work and to fight, no matter how dark the times they lived in became. Moved almost to tears, Chief Okeke approached Chijoke and apologized, which was a very rare thing for him to do. He lifted the ban he had previously placed on Chijoke's singing, and to show his goodwill, he pleaded with Chijoke to compose a song for the village. Chijoke was more than pleased to agree. The song he composed was sung the following day to the entire village as they gathered at the market square. Chijoke was so nervous, his hands shook and his palms were sweaty. This was the first time he would be asked to perform before the entire village, and he wanted to do well. As he started singing, a quiet fell over the crowd, and everyone sat on the edge of their seats, hanging to his every word. At the end of the last note, there was such a mighty applause, and shouting rang out far and near. The villagers gladly put him in the position of the village poet. The songs he sang were learned by both the old and the young and uplifted the villagers as they faced more challenges together. With his newfound recognition came even greater responsibilities that were fraught with trials. Seeing as the drought lingered longer than they expected, Chief Okeke and the village council decided to seek help from other neighboring villages. They needed to send delegates to these villages to ask for help, and Chijoke was chosen as the one to lead the delegation. Knowing he had the gift of words, they hoped he would be able to win over their neighbors and secure their much needed help. The journey was not easy or enjoyable. The roads were bad, the terrain uneven, and nature was unkind. They were even attacked by a band of thieves who they were only able to escape because Chijoke started singing and it distracted the thieves for a while. The journey was arduous, but Chijoke's songs kept their spirits high. When they finally reached the neighboring village of Amagunze, they were met with suspicion. The villagers there had heard rumors of Umeze's troubles and feared they might be bringing bad luck. Chijoke requested an audience with Amagunze's leader, a wise old man named Ezudo. In the village square, he sang a song of truth and humility, recounting Umunze's plight and their quest for aid. Moved by his sincerity and the beauty of his music, Izudo agreed to help, providing grain and advice on better irrigation techniques. Everyone welcomed them as heroes when they got back home. With the food they came back with and the new techniques they learned on how to grow their crops, they were able to survive the worst of the drought. Chief Okeke was very pleased and lauded Chijoke. He also declared a celebration to celebrate their returned heroes. However, Chijoke's troubles were not entirely over. Jealousy festered in the heart of Obina, the blacksmith's son, who had always wanted to be a hero. He began spreading rumors that Chijoke had used dark magic to influence people and nature. Suspicion and fear began to take root once more. In a dramatic confrontation during a village meeting, Obina accused Chijoke publicly. Hurt but steadfast, Chijoke did not defend himself with words. However, he sang. His song spoke of integrity, love for his village, and the purity of his intentions. As his voice echoed through the hall, even Obina's resolve began to waver. Suddenly, Adaora stepped forward, revealing that she had been secretly documenting their journey and the events that transpired. Her detailed accounts, along with Chijoke's song, dispelled any doubt. Obina, ashamed, apologized and was forgiven by Chijoke, who offered him a chance to join in the next delegation. With peace restored and the village united, Chijoke continued to compose and sing, his fame spreading far and wide. Visitors from distant lands came to hear the poets whose songs had saved the village. Chijoke's journey from scorned singer to celebrated hero became a legend, reminding everyone that even in the face of adversity, the power of song and the human spirit could overcome any obstacle. Years passed, and Chijoke's fame continued to grow. One day, a messenger arrived from the distant city of Enugu with an invitation from the Igwe, the great king of the region. The Igwe had heard tales of Chijoke's songs and wished to hear them himself. It was an honor, but also a test, for the Igwe was known to be a harsh critic. Chijioke, with Adora by his side, set off for Enugu. The journey was long and fraught with danger. They encountered wild animals, treacherous paths, and even a band of mercenaries. In each perilous situation, Chijioke's songs provided them with the courage and wisdom to persevere. When they finally arrived at the Igwe's palace, Chijioke was awestruck by its grandeur. The palace was adorned with intricate carvings and vibrant murals that told stories of the land's history. In the grand hall, the Igwe sat on his ornate throne surrounded by his counselors and guards. Chijioke was given the floor and he began to sing. His voice filled the hall, painting pictures of the rolling hills of Umunze, the resilience of its people, and the beauty of their culture. The Igwe listened intently, his stern expression slowly softening. By the time Chijioke finished, the hall was silent and the Igwe's eyes glistened with unshed tears. Moved by Chijioke's performance, the Igwe declared him the official poet of the region and offered him a place in his court. Chijioke humbly declined, expressing his desire to remain with his people at Umunze. The Igwe, impressed by his loyalty, granted him a boon, a decree that Umunze would receive aid and protection whenever needed. Returning to Umunze, Chijioke and Adora were welcomed with jubilation. The village thrived under the Igwe's decree, and Chijioke's songs became a symbol of their enduring spirit. Chijioke and Adora eventually married, and together they continue to inspire their people with stories and songs of hope, love, and resilience. Chijioke's journey from a singer to a celebrated hero and symbol of hope became a cherished legend passed down through generations. His story reminded everyone that even in the face of adversity, the power of song and the human spirit could overcome any obstacle, and that true greatness lay not in personal glory, but in uplifting and uniting one's community.